Larry tried to kill me.
Yeah. I was so thoroughly disgusted.
I mean, think about it. Why does it make you special to do what you do?
Packers jumping around. They rush 4. Plenty of time for John. Now squeezes, steps up in the pocket. LA can run inside the 10. Head first. He dives off the 5-yard line. My goodness.
Rushing 4, ball comes out of the hands of Newton. It's on the ground and still on the ground. Picked up by T.J. Ward at the 4-yard line.
There's also Brian Clady and Bob Miller. Third and long 3. Going deep. Oh, and he's got Thomas. Goodbye. Touchdown. Here we go. First snap of the overtime. The Broncos have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him 3 to the 30. To the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
And welcome to the show. My name is Mundungus Creevy, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Glenn Hauser, Mr. Boggins, and you are currently tuned into the 5280 podcast on the MHRT network. We are a fan-led Broncos-based podcast, filling you in on all things Denver Broncos. Apologize for the couple-minute late start because Boggins was having a life and death struggle with a microphone, and it was really funny.
It didn't like what I was saying to it.
So, how are you guys on this wonderful, wonderful, terrible day after a loss?
Hello.
After 2 days.
Well, it's bloody shit, ain't it? I mean, not good. Nothing. I don't know. I'm like, at this point, I'm just kind of like, we're here again. But this time, we don't have an early round draft pick, so that's the kicker there that just keeps kicking us when we're down. But there's a lot of talk of trades happening that we'll get into soon that may do nothing. It'll still do nothing. We'll still just roll out the rest of the season, and we'll see how that goes. Optimism here at 5280.
Jeffrey Bryan says we need a Monday show and call it Broncos Therapy 101.
Yeah,
we could.
Mm-hmm.
The cluster puck is on Monday though, our new hockey show. The men are running late. Yeah, sorry, it's Boggin's fault.
We saw that microphone from all angles.
Elements.
Yeah.
Go the hell away, Stream Elements. I don't know who you are. Bot. So yeah, let's do some quick, some other outside Broncos stuff because, good God, I don't want to cover that yet.
We've been on for 2 minutes.
So Christian McCaffrey gets traded to the 49ers. That was an interesting trade. Word just came down that the Raiders traded defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins to the Cowboys. Was he a starter or was he a backup on the Raiders?
He was a solid. He was a decently solid player for him. It's kind of weird that the Saints. I think he was drafted by the Saints.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago or whatever. He's a solid depth piece. I thought it was pretty interesting. He's kind of bounced around. The McCaffrey one was very interesting, especially what they gave for him. Everyone was talking about the whole 2 first rounders. Man, if a team gave up 2 first rounders for a running back, oofa, my God, man. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out, to see like the point difference at the end of the day. But I don't know. I still think they gave up too much. And
I don't know where they get the picks.
Yeah, I don't either. And we'll see how much it actually brings to their offense. I think that in that scheme, he's gonna look real good if he can stay healthy. I think they have a lot of weapons. Jimmy G doesn't even have to do nothing. Jimmy G just has to hike the ball. Picks. Yeah, well, yeah. Somehow Jimmy G still screwed the pooch. Like some of those throws, I texted my buddies. And I was like, is that really something he just did? Like, what kind of why? Like it's I don't know. Jimmy G is. They were talking about him getting some calls this off season, but he's not helping himself. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What you're saying, throwing an interception at the 1 yard line?
Yeah, that one where he's just like flyers up, like back in elementary school when you used to play flyers up. That's what he was doing, except he just was closed his eyes and he's like, good luck.
It's like when
does he even want to be there anymore? I don't know.
500 game. 500.
Yeah.
And then we got word from the Colts that Sam Ehlinger is going to be starting for the rest of the year. Looks like Matt Ryan has
he's been benched.
2 separation on his shoulder, and so he can't play the rest of the year.
He's been separated from his starting position, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess stop delaying the inevitable. Okay. So for the Broncos, coming out of Sunday's game, looks like Baron Browning's going to be out for a couple weeks. We got Mike Boone out for a couple weeks. Latavius Murray had an ankle thing. It doesn't seem like it's going to affect him too much. But we did sign Marlon Mack off of the Niners practice squad.
I wanted Marlon Mack like 5 years ago. I not now. I've been clamoring for that depth for a while now, but they're just like,
and he already flew out to London, so he joined the team in London, right? Yeah. So he went from San Fran, right?
Yes.
Okay, San Fran to Denver straight to London. That's basically what happened.
The Broncos are doing with their running back room what they've done with their QB room the last 6 years.
Another one that I can't believe I'm saying is a big loss is Cam Fleming, Mike. He's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So,
yeah.
He's been playing well. He has been.
He's been playing, good enough. Now we got old
Calvin Anderson,
Billy in there, and Calvin Anderson. So we'll see how that goes.
It's a bad sign when they're showing the quarterback dropping back and you're seeing the name on the back of the lineman's jersey. That's always a bad sign. The offensive lineman, not the defensive one.
So kind of dipping into the game a little bit, and we'll go into more detail. But
who we're playing?
I don't remember. Jets.
James Robinson's former team.
One of the things I will say is the last 3 games, the refs have been absolutely horrible. Missing pass interference calls, missing face mask calls. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
The touchdown, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
What'd you say?
You forgot the touchdown. DJ Jones.
I wasn't going to encompass all of them.
Well, that would be the coup de grace. I liked.
Yeah, it doesn't help. We're already bad enough. and then the refs kind of just add to it. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's just kind of a shite show at this point. It's like might as well. More injuries, trades, depths of hell. That's where we are.
The depths of hell.
Is that overreaction? Overreaction.
No.
What day is it? Tuesday. Overreaction Tuesday.
There you go. Well, that's kind of one of the things I was talking to Glenn about when we were doing the show was like, you look at the game we had on Sunday. Yeah, Brett Rypien starting instead of Russell Wilson. So now you can kind of get the answer of, okay, who is the problem? Is it Wilson? Is it Hackett? Is it both? Like, what's the issue here? You had a last year's 3rd string practice squad quarterback and this year's backup quarterback that barely made the team come in and play and not really play that much worse than Wilson did. So I would say a big problem is Wilson right now. But also, like, the situational play calling is ridiculously dumb. So it's kind of both. And now we kind of have that solidified answer of this is where Hackett's failing. This is where Russell's failing.
I don't even think it's close. I think it's coaching, Mike. I mean, it's just this guy's so far over his head, and his whole demeanor has changed. Post-game presser, he's blaming the team. He didn't take any accountability. Here's Jeff talking about the refs. We'll pop back to that, in a minute. But Hackett's happy-go-lucky demeanor, the Ted Lasso, he's turned evil Ted now. It's not a pretty situation, but I don't even think it's close as far as the responsibility. I think injuries play a part there. Russ certainly hasn't been tearing it up in all the games, most definitely, but this staff is way over its head for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Russ definitely has his woes. He's definitely not been playing up to what we have seen him play in the past. But I have to put a majority of it all on the head coach. He is just so overwhelmed consistently. He keeps throwing his players under the bus. I know this last press conference, he finally said it falls on me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn right it does. I wish he would have taken responsibility before that. I haven't heard much about disconnect in the locker room as far as people not liking Hackett. I think people like him. I think people want him to succeed. I think it's not translating on the field. The guy may have a good scheme. At the end of the day, you need to execute. And part of your player's execution falls on the coach. The coach has to make sure his players are executing. It just is what it is. And then all the weight falls back on you. So you have to figure out how you're going to make your team mesh. And he has not been able to even slightly do that so far. No one was expecting a perfect record up to this point. They were just expecting some form of consistency, some wow moments at least. We haven't really had. I mean, we've had a couple big plays, and that's about it. There just hasn't been any spark. There's just been, you're just watching a team walk on a field and then walk off the field after a loss. That's pretty much all we're at this point, and it's just frustrating to watch, and especially with some new eyes up in the big box, the new ownership who is used to winning with Walmart. They are they were born into winning, and now they're not. So that is something that is going to be very interesting to keep an eye on, especially since they weren't the ones that hired Hackett. And I don't know how. I hope that doesn't mean anything for Peyton, because I still believe Peyton is a very good GM.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think anything is on the table with new ownership. You don't know. This is a brand new regime. If they don't like something, they may just change it.
Yeah, and I guess Albright was talking about it on Twitter that he can confirm that the owners are embarrassed of what's going on with the Broncos right now. So I'm going to assume, and I don't know if it's going to be this season or off season or next season, but I'm going to assume that Nathaniel Hackett is on the hot seat right now. How can he not be?
Absolutely. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be in season, but I think that the wild cards are the owners. You don't know. You don't know if they're going to be like, nope, we're not doing this. And he's just you really, really don't know what they're going to, they can literally do anything at this point. And it's just kind of, it's going to be very, very interesting to watch how they handle themselves. If they're patient, kind of like Peyton is, or if they're just like, well, this is not working. I know the footballs, you're gone. But I just don't see him back after the season for sure.
Yeah. And one of the things I think that the majority of us can agree on is that Hackett probably needs to give up play calling. I mean, obviously it's not going to happen for the London game, but then you got the bye. That would be the most opportune time to give up the play calling. Like, and it's not a straight comparison, but like take Sirianni last year on the Eagles. The offense wasn't clicking while he was calling plays. He gave up calling the plays. They got better, made the playoffs, and now this year, good Lord. Again, not a straight comparison, but
No.
he could save his job by giving up play calling to somebody else.
Yeah, but I don't really know if that's really going to change anything because he already has coaches teaching coaches that are there to help him with the play call decisions based on the analytics. So I don't know really if someone else sits in that seat is going to really change all that much, you know? And sure as hell, not Justin Allen going to be play calling. That's
yeah.
That's for sure. I don't know if you're going to try and move up, like have your QB coach move up and have Clint Kubiak play call, but I don't know. It's going to get weird real quick.
Hackett's like, it's 4th and 15. What should we do? Punt? Punt. Okay. We're going to punt.
No, we're not going to punt. We're going to.
No, we only punt on the 4th and 1.
That's when they do
on the
go
4th and 15.
That's when they put him under center to
We have 40-mile-an-hour winds going side to side. Yeah, bring in the kicker for the 56-yard field goal.
And speaking of the kicker, is this the last year for McManus?
I think so.
I haven't looked at his contract, but
he's so arrogant.
I think some of his big time field goals are what everybody's sitting with. Like there are some big misses that he's had. He's been consistent still, but he's like the big moments have been the ones where you're like, oh, that sucks. Wish you would have made that one. And so I don't know.
And those are usually precluded, Marcus. Those are usually precluded with him begging the coach or assuring the coach that he's got it under control.
Absolutely. Or then raging at someone on Twitter about how he was right and they were wrong, and he could kick a football.
I know Von Miller.
I don't. We're best friends.
And
have you ever noticed anytime they're mic'd up, they have to tell each other that you're my best friend. No, you're my best friend.
They're not even playing against each other. He's on FaceTime with them. Mm-hmm. I love you.
Oh man. So one of the other things that has been a big topic of conversation is the potential for Chubb. Judy Hamler.
It's the potential for Chubb.
Maybe more. Yes, the potential for Chubb.
Not this season.
Talk about being on the hot seat.
Judy or Hamler possibly getting traded.
Who?
I don't know if I like any of that.
I mean, I don't know what you're going to get. I don't know what you're going to get from him. You're not going to get. I think the max for any of them is going to be a second round. Mm-hmm. It really depends on the desperation of the team. The Packers are pretty desperate right now for a receiver, but they're also not doing shite. I think I've said shite this 4 times now. But I think Judy is a possibility. I think Chubb is probably more likely, just because I think you'll get more for an edge, and I think we have enough depth, maybe not currently because of injuries, but I think we have enough depth to make up for him next year, and then maybe go draft another. But between Benito, Browning, Gregory,
Cooper,
maybe Patrick, like we have some guys that will be sustainable over the years. Huh?
Combo.
Yeah.
I think Chubb. Quite honestly, you just have to trade him. I mean, we're not going to get anything for him after this season. I would think it's less than 10% chance that we bring him back. I just if we can get a number 2 Boggins, I'm all for that. We don't have one right now. Mm-hmm. And Judy looks miserable. He looks bitter on the sideline. I'm not saying we should just shred the team and just deplete the team, but it's I mean, he's another one. Do you see them picking up the 5th-year option on him when they get the opportunity to do that? I don't think so. So,
well, and I know that like at the beginning, like in the off season before the season began, we were talking about the possibility of trading Chubb or getting rid of Chubb anyways, just because we had all that edge help. So I'm torn on that one because at the same time, like Chubb is having a really, really good year, and he's a defensive captain. So you're going to trade a guy that's a team captain on the strongest part of the team, but then I don't know.
But Mike, if we have a 6-11 record or 7-10 record, and then he walks away for nothing, it's just what did you gain from that?
Wouldn't you get a compensatory pick off of that though?
I think it's going to be
like a third rounder is what I heard.
That's end of third.
Yeah.
So you're talking about in the 100.
Yeah, and we still got to pay Draymond.
Yeah.
So that's something.
And I know that I was told that, well, not told, checked on the thing, that teams have been calling about Judy, but it's a really high price to trade for Judy, like a second.
Called about him and KJ. So
yeah, and KJ is cheaper to get.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
KJ doesn't have the production that Judy does.
No.
And it doesn't have the draft
cachet.
So yeah. So my guess is Chubb. And then I'd probably say Chubb, KJ, then Judy. If I had a gun to my head, that would be my guess of most likely to be traded.
Okay. So taking a look at the Jets game, what was the biggest thing that stuck out in your mind that was the reason why we did not win that game?
Well, I think the momentum really shifted after we got hosed on that touchdown. That was clearly a fumble that DJ Jones ran back, and that was going to be pretty significant. But later on in the game, I mean, this defense has just been lights out all season. But later on in the game, our offense on 4th and 1, not going for it at midfield, on 4th and 3, throwing essentially a Hail Mary into the end zone. I don't understand some of these calls. But the 4th and 1 at midfield, I think, really sealed our fate.
Yeah. Whatever light you just turned on is so bright.
Oh, it's just a screen. Man, there were so many things that just did not go our way. A lot of Brett Rypien's decisions, a lot of the play calling, no run game. It was just, I'm trying to adjust this, but
would you say no run game at Boggins, or totally abandoning it once it was working in the first half and then abandoning it for shotgun start in the second half? What would you say?
That too. There was no run game at all. And we were like, let's put it all. How many times did Rypien throw?
46.
46.
As a backup. 46 times.
46 times. It's like,
well, it's awesome how Hackett.
I get that
Hackett at the beginning of the year is like balanced offense.
I get that Javonte's hurt, and I get that you're not like super stoked with Melvin, and I get that we have some injuries on the line. But you got to establish the run, man, especially when you have usually the defense would have to. I mean, I guess if the defense knows and they're going to challenge you and make you throw on them, so they're going to cover the box and just make sure that you can't run on them, and you're going to have to throw on them with your backup QB. But at a certain point, you gotta at least try and establish it, because it's just not good. Everything about it. It was just it was weird watching that game, because you just figured you were going to lose the whole time, even though the other team was so bad. Yeah. Zach Wilson was terrible, and still it was just something's going to happen, huh?
Yeah, and out of all the games we've had this season, before Cam Fleming went out at left tackle, I thought the offensive line was playing pretty good. I mean, aside from a few missed blocks from Fleming, but Fleming is probably one of the worst centers in the league. But Rypien got sacked once, I think. So the offensive line, I thought, played pretty well. On that 4th and 3, like within the last couple minutes of the game, where Rypien threw it deep, was that a Rypien call or was that a play call? Because that was stupid.
I'm not sure. I would have to. I mean, even if I looked at all 22, I wouldn't really know whose call that was. I mean, usually, some of those go balls are you see a matchup that you like and you go for it. But I just wish they would take.
Like, he was double covered. Like, why would you throw it that far to double cover?
I mean, sometimes the to look off a safety doesn't quite work the way you want it to. They're like, no, we still know where you're going to throw it, so they still come over there. But I don't know. I don't think we're taking what we can get. Sometimes we're trying so hard to move the ball downfield. Like remember when Hackett was first hired, he was talking about moving the ball downfield. Like he's going to make big plays, move downfield. Like that was always something he continually talked about, and I think he just has it so much in his head that he wants to do that it is screwing him over. It's kind of like how when Devontae Adams first came to Oakland and Derek Carr was just force feeding Devontae. You know it's going to happen. Like that's what you plan for. Well, same thing here. You become predictable. They're going to plan for it. And I think we're predictable. And then we just make these weird situational calls that don't make any sense. Instead of you think you're going to outsmart the other team constantly. And it's like, you could just get 3 yards. You could just do that. And then your drive would continue. You don't have to get the touchdown right now. And it's just frustrating to watch consistently.
Raiders Zach says you guys still have a capable running game without Javonte Williams, but your coach has to use it.
Yep.
We did allude to the refs not being in the Broncos' favor this past weekend, and I mean Sauce Gardner, he's good, but the amount of jersey that he had clutched in his hands on a regular basis with no yellow flags being thrown is just incredible. And I saw Jeff Bryan earlier was like he was way more handy than Mathis was the previous week when he got 4 calls against him.
Yeah.
So I lied about the rushing game. We actually rushed 37 times, which is not terrible. But we also passed. Doesn't say. Never mind. But we still had passed over like 40 something times, which you just can't do with the backup. But
what do you think of Latavius Murray so far?
He's solid. He's always been solid. Anywhere he goes, he's been just like. I don't want to say average. Like he's average with a couple bursts. You know what I mean? Like he can play for sure, and it would be great to have as a backup if we had Javonte. But right now we don't have an RB1. It's real funny when everybody's like Melvin Javonte. Well, now it's just Melvin.
It's not funny,
and it's not great. So we're looking at. Getting in Marlon Mack now. That's where
I was going to say. What should we expect from Marlon Mack? Anything or not really?
I don't know if I don't know. He hasn't. I don't know where he's played the last 3 years. He's been like on free. He's been like bouncing around.
He tore his Achilles.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what he is anymore. So it's kind of hard to say. I mean, he might play a couple snaps, maybe.
So you're saying I shouldn't have just picked him up on my fantasy team?
Oh, yeah, no, you can do that. You can do that. If you're playing me. If you're playing me, you can start him. Please start him. Between him, Melvin and Boone, it's just like and Latavius. I don't know what we're doing. But it's fine. We're just gonna watch. If we don't win this game though, it's gonna be very interesting the week after. Very interesting.
So, do we have Rypien start again and let Wilson rest, or do we put Wilson in there to see if we can push out a win?
I think there's no way Russ isn't playing this game. Like especially from a marketing side, like they're going to push that so hard that Russell Wilson is going to be playing in London, even though he's been trashed this year. He's still going to be playing in London. Like I don't see how they, unless he really, it's not healing the way that it should be. I don't see Russ not playing.
That sucks. I don't like that.
I mean, I would rather Russ than Rypien. I don't like. I get everybody's was weirdly excited about that. I think just to see how it was still like check out Hackett's offense without Russ and just to kind of try and figure out what's going on. But at the same time, stop it. Like Russell is still better than Brett Rypien. I will.
No, yeah, and the one argument I made was like, you know, when you could see every week that the Broncos were starting to get better, starting to click. You saw the first half of the Raiders game. Russ was on fire, and then he got hurt, and then it went way downhill. So my argument was like, I understand Russ is better. There's absolutely no quarterback controversy, but give the guy 3 weeks to rest and then bring him in after the bye. Fully healthy, ready to go. So that's why I was asking, are we going to see Rypien or are we going to see Russ?
That could potentially be it too. I mean, I guess the people over there have already bought the tickets.
Yeah, whether they show up
or not, they're all the different jerseys anyway. So
yeah, that's true. That's true as well. You know, it is funny though to think about. Man, the AFC West was supposed to be so good.
And the NFC East was supposed
and the
to be
NFC East is somehow winning games. I just don't know.
Yeah. So I kind of want to take a little bit of a hypothetical leap because I didn't think we were going to be at this point 7 games into the season, but we are. I'm seeing a lot of people bring up Frank Reich, and I'm not sure why. Like, it seems like Frank Reich is possibly on his way out with the Colts, and people are like, hey, Frank Reich can come to Denver. Why? Why is that a thing?
I think he's a good head coach. I think he hasn't been given the right quarterback since Andrew Luck. But he has turned that whole team around, and they have been solid consistently. Mm-hmm. So I think he is a very good head coach. And I would not mind Frank Reich here. I don't know if that is the way that they would go. Like I said, it's kind of like it's so up in the air with ownership. You don't know anything about them. You don't know what their tendencies are or where they're gonna go. If they're just gonna completely trust Peyton to hire another head coach again because he kind of flubbed on this one. So are they just gonna be like, you know what? We're gonna be there with you. We're gonna make the final call, and then anything can happen. So we don't really know. And no, like there's not gonna be Sean Payton in there. That's a chance that's not gonna happen.
Because
Kyle Shanahan.
You'd literally have to trade like a first round pick to the Saints just to even sniff Sean Payton.
Oh man, if Kyle Shanahan gets fired. Oh man, I hope the 49ers are terrible the rest of the year. And then John Lynch like takes some drugs and he's like, hey, you Kyle Shanahan, get out of here. And then we hire him because
there we go.
Take me some Kyle
Shanahan. The whole thing is just funny. Like we want to see Nathaniel Hackett coach like Dan Quinn coaches. So it's like now I'm a little upset. It's like, why we should just go with Dan Quinn. Like, I'm not saying Nathaniel Hackett can't fix it. I'm highly doubting that he'll fix it. Mm-hmm. But it's like, you know.
And we might end up doing that in the end too. We might have just gotten like a limbo year, and now we're gonna get Dan Quinn and like get Schottenheimer in here and just have Russ, his old squad, back and be like, hey, look, Russ, look what we got you because we have you for another 4 years. So we need this. Please be good again. That could happen.
Ray says we should really consider letting Clint Kubiak call the plays after the bye. And we talked a little bit about it, but again, you would think he would be the one that they would rely on to call the plays if they made a change because he has the play calling experience with the Vikings. not so much Outen.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, what's Hackett gonna do? Like game management?
Oh God,
I don't think so.
that's a terrible thought.
It's like his worst. That's like the if you have him as just your head coach, like that's just the stuff that he's worst at. Why would you have him do that? Like, you'd want him just you call plays, and then like someone else oversees everything. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Okay, so continuing with the hypothetical, let's say that Hackett gets fired mid-season. Who takes over? Evero? Dom Capers? Like who are we having take over here?
Probably Dom Capers. To be completely honest, probably. And that's I don't think we want that. We
haven't had a good comb over in Broncos country in quite some time.
I really don't think we want Dom Capers.
Now again, I'm not saying
have you seen him at all?
Anyone to get
Where's
fired.
he?
Yeah.
But
he's around. He's like a ghost.
Yeah.
the ghost
the spirit of losing's past.
Yeah. No, and again, like none of us are saying that we want people to get fired. We don't. But
that's not true.
Like
I hope Hackett goes.
Be nice.
I hope Hackett goes and parties with Prince Andrew while he's in London. I mean, that's what I'm hoping.
Good Lord.
I'm looking elsewhere for sure.
How diplomatic.
I don't think there's going to be any crazy changes this season. I wouldn't. I would just because nothing really changes. Like you're still gonna have. You're not gonna learn a whole new playbook. That's just not gonna happen. So I don't know. I mean,
but doesn't it tell your existing players you give a shit? Like that you want them to still.
Yeah, but firing mid-season isn't going to help anything, though, is it? Like,
and I don't think that also shows your players anything besides like that. Like you got one chance. You got 5-6 games. You suck. Get out of here.
But there's no chance that this guy can turn it around. Do you ever foresee that he's gonna? I mean, I don't want to hear the Nick Sirianni, example because I just don't feel like it was as grim in Philadelphia last year as it is here. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, but the Philly fans probably feel different than you do. Because like we're looking at this from a fan perspective of like, oh my God, the earth is crumbling.
I thought you were going to say the earth is flat. That's what I was going. It's just...
Who says it's not? All
right, Gino.
Again, I'm not sitting here saying that he can't fix it. Do I think he will? No, but I think they should at least give him the opportunity to try to fix it. But if he keeps going out in press conferences and he's like, "Nope, we're sticking with the status quo. Nothing's changing." Well, okay, you can kick rocks. Like no.
How about I need to look at this, but I don't think my play calling is what's getting us getting in the way. Like he just said that a couple days ago. I mean, this guy is so his awareness level.
Sick of saying the same things over and over again. It's like, yeah, us too.
Well, that's the thing that sucks. Is like we all sit here, we're like, oh man, the offense under Tim Tebow was awful. They didn't do anything. Our offense this year is worse. Like Tim Tebow was scoring more points than we have so far.
Yeah, I want to talk about it.
So bad. Did we get Bridgewater and Shermer back? like that's where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. And the Jags aren't playing terrible either. So it'll be an interesting weekend. Or at least it's really early in the morning. So I have time to forget about it after.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, Marcus, you with a 6:30 kickoff, right?
Yeah.
So what does your morning look like?
Well, luckily, that's what time I usually leave to go to. I got to go to church because I'm the media director there and get things set up, and so I won't have to watch it. I'll put it on my phone. And watch during the service when I'm doing the sound and just kind of in the background. But it might be in just watch it after type of day.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know.
Or not, depending on the
if it's real bad, I might just not watch it. If I look later on and the Broncos have lost, 32-8.
Can you say a prayer while you're setting things up?
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Just the entire time
I don't have to watch
this again. From setting it up to the end of the service, just pray the whole time.
Yeah, I'll do
it. All right, so looking at the Jaguars game, people keep saying like, well, it's a pretty even game. I don't think it is. I think the Jaguars are better than the Broncos, which sucks. But any chance we come out of London with a win?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't believe you.
No, I mean they're 2-5 also. I mean, it's like, so they're not tearing things up. They start off well. They had a couple high profile wins, but I mean they just traded James Robinson. They stopped playing him, for Etienne. I mean, they got Etienne's had one good game. It's like,
did you see that tweet they sent out where they were like, let's name this all-star duo, and it was Robinson and Etienne. And then the next day they traded Robinson.
Let's name this duo Uno. I mean, why wouldn't we be able to win this, Mike? I mean, the defense is still playing strong. We're still going to have, whatever personnel, no trades will have been made prior to this game. And I mean, I don't know if I agree with, I guess as far as Russell goes, I think Hackett's going to definitely play him just because he's trying to save his own job. But I agree with Mike that it's not the best. Ideally, you would want him to take this week off and then have the next week off and really be healthy for the balance of the season, ideally. But if we're going to have Russell playing and the defense still doing well, I don't see why we can't beat the Jaguars.
I'll tell you right now that the Denver Broncos are not the favorites to win this game.
No, they're not.
They are 2.5 point underdogs with a 77% bet that people are taking.
I mean, all the Jags have to do is score 17 points, and then we can't match it. So,
yeah, that's fun.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I mean, wouldn't these be the games you'd just stay completely away from?
Yeah, they would.
And I don't know about you, but like even the other day when when the Broncos were trying to tie the game, you felt zero, you felt nothing. Like when the ball hit the ground, it was like you weren't disappointed. Like, oh, it was just like, oh,
that figures.
Mike and I are already deciding like not to have a post game show, like because we were doing the streaming of the game. It's like, can we just talk about this for 30 seconds after this is over and call it a day?
Can we just not do this? Like, it's been 3 hours.
I'm pretty sure I was just on my phone the whole time. I was literally watching the game online because it was like the first game that wasn't actually on cable for me.
Yeah.
And so I had to stream it and it kept freezing, but I didn't care. I was like watching Red Zone and I would just like watch when the Broncos, and I was like, oh, they screwed it up again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see how the Lions are doing.
Yeah. So, okay. So one more question that I've kind of been having, and that's with the wide receivers. So Tyree Cleveland stayed on the team instead of Jalen Virgil and Kendall Hinton and frickin' Brandon Johnson. But now we got all three of those back because Brandon Johnson just got signed.
And Trinity Benson's back, Mike.
Are we going to see any of them at all ever or no?
Maybe.
Man.
I mean, Tyree, they seem to still love Tyree on special teams for some reason.
Which doesn't make any sense. He doesn't do anything.
I don't know. Probably not. I mean, probably in just rotational. That's about it.
I'm gonna look for special team stats while you guys are.
Raider Zach says Broncos will beat the Jags, but not gonna lie. Hope you guys lose one more. How do the effing Raiders and Broncos have 2 wins? Jesus, what the F happened? Right?
Any given Sunday. And I don't know. Do you guys have injuries?
Now,
we have a lot of them.
To be fair, we warned you about Josh McDaniels.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be better than he has been.
Well, he hasn't gotten rid of the number 1 receiver and quarterback yet. So
that's true. That would have been hilarious, though. He just he trades him away after they just traded for him. That would be funny.
Yeah.
But I can't wait till they draft and screw it up again. But we don't draft. We don't draft until the 3rd round now. So
yeah. Well, so there have been a lot of people going off on George Payton. Like, does he deserve to be criticized for a lot of this, or no?
I don't think so. I think this was just like one flub up, and I think head coaches are hard, man. It's like finding your franchise quarterback, and like we're really gonna blame him because you got Russell. Like, I'm pretty sure every one of us was like, Russell Wilson, what?
Yeah.
Then we got it. Like, I'm sure he was the exact same way, and then got him, and now we're like, huh, that sucks. Like, I don't know how hard we can't just put the blame on him just because technically he was the one that made the call when all of us, like, damn well all of us were in the same boat. There wasn't many just like, he sucks, unless you're a Seahawks fan and you're like, of course he sucks.
He's awful.
Shut up.
Now we got Geno Smith, who's a better quarterback.
Yeah, they're going to draft another quarterback.
Yeah, but don't forget, 3 weeks ago, Pete said that Drew is on Geno's heels every practice.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Haven't heard about Drew's name the last couple weeks.
Well, Drew
Tyree
needs to stay away
Cleveland,
from people with close contacts. You know what I mean? He's going to be spreading COVID again.
Tyree Cleveland, king of the 3 special teams tackles on the season.
I was going to say he doesn't do anything on special teams. Like Singleton was crushing it.
Yeah, I want Brandon Johnson to come in there. I'd like to see what he can do.
At this point, just throw whoever we want in there. You know what I mean? Like,
honestly.
Yeah. They should take fan requests and just like, who do you want to see? You know what I mean?
Rod Smith coming right up. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to sell tickets.
Well, and
Come on,
like
baby.
At this point, like if Bradley Chubb gets traded, I mean, we're pretty much done with this season, right? Like if Bradley Chubb is gone, it's like, okay.
That's one of those aspects of being a GM where I feel like they don't think about it the same way as other people. Like they don't want to do that because they don't want to seem like that's the case. But then other times they'll be like, oh, it's just a business move. You know, like when Vaughn went, it's like, oh, so we're done. Like, no, we're not. We still got a chance. I mean, sure, but you traded away Von Miller. You know this, right? Like it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know where we're gonna go. Who knows? I quit.
Ray says George Payton is a damn good GM. I'm glad we got him. I don't want anyone to get traded, but those picks would be nice for real.
And he knows how to draft, man. He's been good so far. Like everybody's giving Damari Mathis crap, but I'm telling you what, he's been better than Michael Ojemudia was his rookie year. So
yeah, we haven't seen him at all.
I think Damari Mathis is going to be a solid depth piece and maybe even a starter in the future.
Somebody commented up here about trading Simmons. Hold on, where'd it go? I saw
trading Simmons.
Yeah, they were like trade Simmons because we got his replacement in Stearns. And all right.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Think about this. Simmons seems we have his replacement ready to go. Not a terrible drop off.
Oh, you know who? Guess who agreed with it immediately? Rich. Yeah. Rich says,
no, but it's like why would you trade the number 1, number 2 safety in the league instead of holding him, waiting until Jackson leaves, and then have Simmons and Stearns?
Yeah,
I can't speak for Jeff, but I'm guessing that he's saying that because when we were saying the most we could get would be a second rounder, that would be something where you would definitely get a first round for. But Chubb has 24 tackles, 5.5 sacks so far this year. Draymond 23 tackles, 4.5 sacks this year.
You know what's weird is Surtain doesn't have a pick.
Because nobody throws to him.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering about the other day. I was like, man, this is going to suck because like people don't throw to him. It's like, can you still be a Hall of Famer if you don't get like very many picks because they just don't throw your way? Because they're like, you know what? You're not going to get a Hall of Fame nod now. I'm just going to throw over there. Like,
well, Revis is going to get in it, isn't he? Or is he in?
No, he's not in, but he's considered. I mean, Revis.
Say he's considered, right? And he didn't have a lot of picks either because nobody threw to him.
I don't think.
Well, at least for like a 4-year gap, and then it was.
Yeah.
Well, then he would just chase. Then he would just chase the big contracts and bounce around.
Oh, I mean, is there any other awful topic that we want to talk about tonight? I think.
What are your score predictions? Do you have one?
I don't want to predict anymore because we're always wrong. It's like, oh, they're going to score 17 this time, and then they score 4.
17-13, the Jaguars.
This is straight up going to be a 9-10.
Probably.
Like Jags 10, Broncos 9. It's what this is going to be.
Watch the Broncos throw like 38 points.
Then I'll keep predicting low every
just to
time.
confuse us more. You know what I mean? Just confuse us more.
I'll go. I'll go somewhere along those lines, Boggins. I'll go 34-16 Broncos.
Wow, you went the opposite way.
Yeah. I mean, do I believe that? No, absolutely not.
Do I believe it?
We lie here on this podcast.
That's what we do, because we're just like the neighborhood. It's worthless, right, Glenn?
Oh yeah. I'm like, we should put that on the poster.
Yeah,
Nothing else matters.
Some dude jumped in on the neighborhood and commented like, "I don't even know why I'm here. This is worthless." It's like, okay, thanks.
And then 20 minutes later, he goes, "You're worthless." It's like, so you're still with us. Cool. But what was great is in both comments they were grammatically incorrect, and I'm like, I think your English teacher was worthless.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for the show. I know the Broncos are awful, but please, God, don't punish us for that. And like and follow, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications for everything so you can know when we post and when we go live. Tune into the other podcast, our Monday podcast, which is the Cluster Puck. It goes live every Monday at 8/7/65. Covers all things Colorado Avalanche. The Wild Wild West podcast on Wednesdays at 7:30, 6:35, 4:30. And Broncos Breakdown with Bronco Bill every Friday at 8/7/65. He is now live during that show, so make sure you jump into the chat on that. And then the neighborhood, where we live stream during every Broncos game. So we'll be live streaming again during the Jags game, very, very early in the morning. So I might have my pajamas on. It's okay.
I'm just thinking Animatronic Bill is no longer around. It's he's live now, folks. And I'm sorry, Mike, but I had to pull up where a Raiders fan was predicting a Broncos win. You know, you don't see that very often.
Oh, that's fine. It's all good. So make sure you check out all the things going on the network. We love you, Broncos country. Raiders Nation, not so much, but we're glad Raider Zach is in here. So thanks for that. So we will jump out and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.